should have been obvious, but it wasn't. And yes, teams can misjudge. The entire league can miss the mark. After all, the Baltimore Ravens once drafted a 25-year-old tight end before selecting Lamar Jackson in the same draft. They said Shadour Sanders wasn't ready. That without months of practice reps, he'd fold the moment the stadium lights hit. But then Rich Eisen dropped a truth bomb, so sharp it stopped the NFL cold. In under 2 minutes, Eisen didn't just defend Shadour. He dismantled every critic, every hater, every scout who doubted him. And he did it live, on national television. This wasn't the tale of a timid rookie learning the ropes. This was the emergence of a young quarterback stepping into shark-infested waters, and proving he might be the one doing the biting. Before Sanders even took an NFL snap, the whispers had started. He's not getting enough reps. You can't throw a rookie out there cold and expect him to survive. Preseason was supposed to be his chance to acclimate. Instead, he stood on the sidelines watching, analyzing, mentally logging every detail while others soaked up those precious practice snaps. For most rookies, that's a nightmare scenario. Every pass, every drill, every repetition matters when you're trying to steal the starting job. But for Sanders, it was more than lost reps. It was a perception problem. Coaches, analysts, even fans assumed that without that live preparation, he'd walk into his debut blind, nervous, and utterly unprepared. Eisen saw it differently. On his show, he obliterated the idea that Sanders had to earn basic prep time to be taken seriously. To Eisen, this wasn't about whether Sanders could throw a football. It was about whether the system was stacking the deck against him before he had a chance to prove himself. And then came the character critiques. He interviews poorly. His attitude is questionable. According to whom? The New York Giants. The same franchise that handed Daniel Jones a monster contract and let Saquon Barkley walk out the door. That's the intel we're trusting? Eisen's sarcasm was surgical, exposing these takes as lazy narratives rather than grounded evaluations. Sanders wasn't some rookie riding the coattails of his famous last name. He'd paid his dues in college, grinding through 2 programs, sharpening his skills under the guidance of his father. A football mind most coaches would kill to have. Then came the numbers. First NFL action, first throw complete. 9 for 9. 2 touchdowns. 0 interceptions. This wasn't about nepotism or luck. This was about relentless preparation, undeniable talent, and a young man who refused to be underestimated. Eisen wasn't just defending Sanders, but he was rewriting the narrative in real time. And after that fiery on-air rebuttal, there was no going back. The whispers turned into chatter. The chatter became debate. The game had changed. From the moment Shadour Sanders set foot on the practice field, it was obvious he wasn't there simply to survive. He was there to seize control. There was no wide-eyed rookie fumbling through the basics, no hesitation or second-guessing. Every movement carried intent. Every throw sliced through the air with precision, as if he'd been commanding this offense for years. I've said it before, and if I had the choice, I'd have taken Shadour at number 2 overall, at worst early in the 2nd round. That's the caliber of talent we're talking about here. His footwork was fluid, his arm a heat-seeking missile, dissecting coverages with surgical accuracy. What began as whispers of potential quickly became a chorus of respect as teammates recognized his quiet authority. Sanders wasn't just filling a spot. He was orchestrating the offense, calling audibles, adjusting protections, and leading with the poise of a seasoned veteran. Coaches started speaking differently about him, using words like natural leader and coachable, terms typically reserved for established pros. The locker room's pulse began to change. Receivers ran their routes with championship urgency. Linemen fought in the trenches with renewed intensity. And it wasn't just physical. His calm, unshakable presence under pressure radiated confidence. You could tell, this kid was built for the moments where legends are born. Some of us joke that it'd be poetic if Shadour became the first quarterback since Baker Mayfield to lead this team into the playoffs, or even win a postseason game. And the truth? It wouldn't surprise me. The regret from passing on him in the first or second round will sting for years, especially when you realize a sore-armed Dylan Gabriel was the alternative. Still, skepticism lingered. Critics clung to his fifth-round draft slot like it was proof of his ceiling. They cited limited reps, calling him untested, fragile. But when opportunity came knocking, through injuries, roster shuffles, and sheer circumstance, he didn't just answer, he kicked the door down. His poise, accuracy, and command under live fire silenced the noise. This wasn't luck. It was preparation meeting its moment. Shadour's football IQ and leadership redefined what a rookie campaign could look like. Every clutch throw, every red zone strike, every perfectly timed audible reshaped the narrative. The just a name label evaporated, replaced with the reality that he belonged and then some. And here's the thing. Winning over a locker room is an entirely different battle than executing on the field. Sanders is doing both without breaking a sweat. Teammates aren't merely respecting him, they're rallying to him. The offense moves differently when he's under center. Receivers sharpen their roots. Linemen dig deeper. Coaches speak about him like he's the heartbeat of the team. This isn't a rookie hype train destined to fade. It's the groundwork for something far bigger. A cultural shift. The NFL is watching. The fans are buzzing. And the doubters, they're running out of ground to stand on. Shadour Sanders hasn't just arrived, he's declared himself. This is the dawn of a new chapter, where raw talent collides with opportunity, and confidence transforms into inevitability. The only question left is, just how far can this kid take them? He was supposed to enter the building as the seasoned veteran, a stabilizing force in a chaotic quarterback room. But when you examine the current quarterback landscape in Cleveland, stability is the last word that comes to mind. Deshaun Watson is attempting a comeback from 2 Achilles surgeries, a brutal injury that has permanently derailed the careers of many elite athletes. Joe Flacco, long past his prime, is more concerned with safeguarding his legacy than mentoring the next generation. And Kenny Pickett? Still wearing 2 gloves like he's prepping for an Arctic playoff game, suggesting more hesitation than confidence. Then you have the 2 rookies, Shadour Sanders and Dylan Gabriel. Talented, yes, but unproven. And if we're being brutally honest, no one with a shred of sense knows what to expect from this quarterback carousel. Odds are, at some point, it'll be Flacco and Pickett battling for early season control while the franchise tries to figure out what they've got in the younger arms. But let's be clear, they're not dealing with a quarterback room, they're navigating a minefield. Now, while most of the NFL world continued to scoff at Shadour Sanders, brushing him off as just another overhyped coach's son, something extraordinary was quietly unfolding during the Browns' OTA sessions. Something so precise, so compelling, that it has NFL insiders scrambling to reassess their scouting reports. Sanders didn't just arrive, he announced himself, a perfect 13 for 13. Not a single incompletion, not one off-target throw. Each pass was laced with intentionality, timing, and ice-cold composure. The kind of refined execution that coaches fantasize about, but rarely witness from a rookie fresh out of college. Rather than being met with celebration, Sanders' flawless performance sparked something else. Unease. Because if Sanders is truly this poised, this polished, this NFL ready, then the league may have just let one of the biggest draft heists in recent memory slip through its fingers. Let's examine the context. Joe Flacco told the media he wasn't enthusiastic about being a mentor. If I say I don't want to mentor, I look bad. If I say I do, I look like a washed-up has-been. An honest comment, but a telling one. Flacco isn't interested in building the future. He's clinging to what remains of the past. Kenny Pickett, meanwhile, still trots onto the field wearing 2 gloves. Not for flair, but out of uncertainty. That's not style. That's a security blanket for a quarterback unsure of his grip, his confidence, and maybe even his identity in the league. These are the veterans Shadour Sanders is supposed to be trailing. Instead, zoom out and look at the Cleveland QB room for what it really is. Not a depth chart, but a civil war of egos, injury history, and franchise desperation. Watson's mobility, once a central weapon in his arsenal, may be permanently diminished. Flacco is hanging on by threads. Pickett hasn't proven anything. Gabriel was overlooked by 31 other teams. That's not just skepticism, that's league-wide disinterest. Amid this disarray enters Shadour Sanders, steady, locked in, unshaken. He didn't walk in demanding respect. He earned it. The 13 for 13 wasn't a hot streak. It was a seismic signal to the league. Every completion displayed elite-level processing, poise, and pinpoint accuracy. These weren't checkdowns. These were pro reads. Real NFL throws. And he delivered them like he's been doing it for years. Still, the mainstream narrative refuses to evolve. The critics cling to tired tropes. He's just Dion's son. He's a product of privilege. But what they won't acknowledge is the mental toughness, meticulous preparation, and sky-high football IQ Sanders brings into every rep. He's not coasting on a last name. He's forging his own legacy, one throw at a time. Even more impressive, Sanders didn't emerge from a gimmicky, stat-padding college system. He operated a true pro-style offense at Colorado. He called protections, made pre-snap reads, worked through progressions. He carried a program under a national spotlight with every move analyzed and criticized, and he still thrived. That kind of preparation isn't just rare, it's transformational. Most rookies struggle to bridge the vast mental chasm between college and the NFL. Sanders isn't just crossing it, he's sprinting across it while leaving dust clouds of doubt behind. Now, Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski finds himself at the eye of a media hurricane. Ownership wants results from Watson and that massive contract. The press is urging him to respect Flacco's resume. He's babysitting Pickett's bruised ego. And suddenly, a 6th-round rookie has walked in and made every one of them look like yesterday's news. Stefanski told reporters they're mixing it up daily and exposing guys to different packages. On the surface, that sounds like standard coach speak. But if you read between the lines, it reeks of panic. They didn't plan for this. And that's the dividing line. That's what separates Sanders from the rest of this overcrowded and unstable quarterback room in Cleveland. He's not begging for a shot. He's already playing like the job is his. While most rookies spend their early months trying to keep their heads above water, adjusting to the velocity of the NFL, absorbing complex playbooks, and learning not to drown under pressure, Sanders looks like a seasoned pro. His footwork is refined. His release is lightning quick. His command of the offense has earned the respect of coaches, teammates, and even veterans. That's not just impressive, that's exceptional. And now, NFL insiders are taking notice. Whispers are spreading across scouting departments and media circles. Whispers that echo the early days of Russell Wilson's unlikely rise in Seattle. Back in 2012, Wilson entered training camp as a 3rd-rounder, quietly trailing veterans like Matt Flynn and Tarvaris Jackson. But it didn't take long before the Seahawks realized he was the best quarterback in the building. And they had to hand him the keys. That same quiet but powerful shift is happening in Cleveland. And it's making people nervous. Because when a 6th-round rookie begins outshining veteran quarterbacks in full-speed practices, the entire power structure inside the locker room starts to tremble. Suddenly, expensive contracts look like dead weight. Trade decisions are second-guessed. Front office strategy gets scrutinized. That's exactly what's unfolding behind the scenes in Berea. The Browns didn't draft Sanders to take over. He was a depth piece, a developmental wild card, but he's not waiting for a green light. He's seizing the moment. That kind of hunger reshapes locker rooms. It challenges everyone around him, receivers, linemen, defenders, to elevate. Practices become sharper, routes more disciplined. Focus intensifies, because when Sanders is under center, every rep matters. That's what real leadership looks like. He doesn't have to be loud. His preparation, execution, and consistency speak volumes. And right now, Shadour Sanders is speaking clearly with every throw he makes. Meanwhile, let's look around him. Joe Flacco may have experience, but he looks like a relic. His recent comments to the media, dripping with sarcasm and detachment, are the words of a man who knows the game is slipping from his grasp. He's not interested in mentoring because mentoring means admitting the end is near. Kenny Pickett? Still trying to justify a first-round selection while leaning on short throws and clinging to his two-glove habit like a lifeline. His confidence looks thin. His play, uninspiring. And Dillon Gabriel? Raw talent, yes. But clearly a long-term project. He's not ready to lead this team. So here's the question. No one in Cleveland wants to ask out loud. If Shadour Sanders is already outperforming everyone in competitive reps designed to simulate real game speed, how much longer can they pretend there's an actual competition? Head coach Kevin Stefanski is now balancing on a razor's edge. He wants to be fair. He wants to reward effort and performance, not reputation. But this is the NFL. And he's juggling millions in quarterback investments. The front office paid $230 million for Watson. They traded for Pickett. They brought in Flacco for stability. The moment Stefanski gives Sanders legitimate first-team snaps in preseason, and the rookie continues to light it up, the media will explode. Every drive will become a referendum on the franchise's future. And the longer Stefanski delays acknowledging the obvious, the more it looks like he's protecting politics over production. But he may not have a choice. This is a make-or-break season for Stefanski. Ownership is impatient. The fan base is battle-hardened and unforgiving. And if Sanders shows even a flicker of being the guy, the leash on the veterans will tighten rapidly. What happens when Shedeur throws 2 touchdowns in a preseason debut while Flacco fumbles through 3 and outs? What happens when teammates start lobbying for Sanders? Not behind closed doors, but out in the open. That's not just a quarterback battle. That's a full-scale culture shift. And it's already begun. Because Shadour Sanders doesn't just bring talent, he brings accountability, discipline, a championship mentality that forces everyone in the building to raise their standards. He's not campaigning for the spotlight, he's earning it. One immaculate practice at a time. It's not just the stats that have Cleveland buzzing. It's the way Sanders operates, the mindset, the command, the way he walks into every huddle like it already belongs to him. The staff knows what's happening, so do the players, and they're responding. Amari Cooper, one of the league's most respected technicians at wide receiver, reportedly spent over an hour breaking down film with Sanders after practice. Thank you guys, see you next video.